It's the 8 for 52 podcast.
G'day, this is Botters.
G'day, Buschy here.
Buschy, this is episode 35 and the final one for season 23-24.
We're wrapping up the season, our first ever season as a podcast duo, the 8 for 52 podcast coming to an end for the year.
It's been unbelievable, and I say 35, which leaves us one short of the power play completed, but Imran Arif gets us across the line with that special episode.
Yep.
So we've released 36, my friend.
We certainly have. We've made it to the end of the power play and haven't been smashed around the park too much.
No, it's been fantastic, and I hope everyone out there has enjoyed it all around the world. As always, you can reach out to us on Insta, DM us whenever you like. We shut down the email early in the season, Buschy.
Yeah. There's probably a stack of emails in there by now.
There might be.
Anyway.
There might be. Anyway, we've got a strange one tonight. We've got no ins and outs, of course, coming up because there's no cricket coming up, but we do have an outs and ins.
Yeah, a little one.
Yeah, we do, and we've got a lot coming up, including Bushy's birthday bonanza later, which is going to be huge. You're going to run through the off-season birthdays, Bushy.
It's not just a bonanza. It's a bloody big bonanza. If you excuse my language there, because I'm going to run through the birthdays from now until the season restarts and season 2 of the 8 for 52 podcast returns in late August.
Oh, do not miss out on that one. That's going to be awesome. We're going to cover a lot of birthdays there. And then, as a special wrap-up, we're going to do our favourite things from the season, a season wrap-up of the podcast.
Yeah, we'll go through and have a think about our favourite best bits of the 35 episodes we've recorded. It's going to be fun. That's in the outro.
And a very, very special My Story this week, Bushy.
Very, very special.
To wrap up the season.
Yeah, he fits in perfectly with the shenanigans that have been the season of the 8 for 52 podcast coming up.
You've seen his photo up there already. Big Ziggy.
Yeah, Ziggy will be joining us in My Story. Stick around for that one. He's promising to bring some fireworks, he tells me.
All right, let's see how we go. Bushy, before we move on with the show,
yes,
I want to cover a few points. South China Morning Post.
Yes.
In the last week or so. A couple of big cricket articles there were.
Yeah.
Now, this is a fact-based show and an opinion-based show, so might share a bit of an opinion on some of the content of the
I've been
articles.
sharing opinions all season. 35 episodes of opinion from Botters.
Yeah, well, I don't get paid nothing to say nothing. I get paid nothing to give an opinion, Bushy. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, I'll give you an opinion. I'm upset that we didn't get this exclusive on the podcast. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, well, it's outrageous, but we won't cover that here on the podcast. We'll cover that off the record. Bushy, there was one article, enormously encouraging. Let me kick off with that, right? Enormously encouraging. Cricket Hong Kong has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Shandong Small Ball Sports Federation in addition to fostering relationships with Cricket Association in Shanghai, Beijing and several provinces. The Shandong Small Ball Sports Federation, just before we move on to the depth of the cricket as part of this, who the hell are the Shandong Small Ball Sports Federation? Is there a medium ball sports federation and a large ball sports federation as well?
My guess would be there's like the character for small in Chinese, the medium size and the large size.
Well, who decides how big the ball is, whether it goes into small?
The boss of the Shandong Small Ball Sports Association, I guess.
And why is there just a presumably other provinces have small ball sports federations as well? Does every province have a small ball sports federation?
Well, they don't, because you got the Shanghai Sports Association or whoever the tie-up is with.
So in Shandong, they separate by small, medium and large by the looks of it. And it looks like we, as cricket, fall into the Small Ball Sports Federation.
Where does golf fall in then?
Well, I did a little bit of research and I found some... Unsurprisingly, it's hard to find. They don't have the Shandong Small Ball Sports Federation don't have a high level of presence on the internet.
Okay.
So it was hard to find some information. But I did dig out some past ones, and golf is very much in the small ball area, along with tennis and some other sports as well. About 17, I think I found. Can only be positive, right? Can only be positive. Great link up with the mainland.
Yep.
Get all the support that goes with that. Especially, it's also touched on in the article about the Olympics coming up and what that might mean. One of the other things that touched on in the article, the chairman said he would certainly consider fielding a Hong Kong team, in any future Chinese Super League, a concept that has been suggested as franchise cricket continues to boom. Who suggested a Chinese Super League?
Well, it was the first I'd heard about it, and yeah, that's all I've got to say on the matter.
What? Where's that? But
that's out of nowhere.
McNamara's written this article, right? Like that's just thrown in 3/4 of the way down. I want a bit more info on this. I'm a bit excited about a potential Chinese Super League. Any future Chinese Super League, a concept that has been suggested. Well, by who?
Yeah.
By him?
Not by
who?
me. Wasn't by me.
No, it wasn't by me either. I just thought it was. I thought it was very, very strange way it was thrown in. Very exciting, but without any detail.
We'll keep our ears to the ground and see if we can find anything about the Chinese Super
well,
League.
That's an off-season play. Is find out that. Bushy, I did have a look back. As I said, I scouted around trying to find some information on the Shandong Small Ball Sports Association. What I did find was back in 2016, June to be precise, the South Australian Cricket Association announced a 5-year agreement with the Shandong Cricket Association to help grow the game within the world's most populous country of China. So South Australia, way back in 2016, signed a 5-year deal, not with the Small Ball Association, with the Shandong Cricket Association.
Which I'm assuming now doesn't exist. Otherwise, we would have signed the agreement with them.
Presumably so.
They've been merged
with the other small balls.
The other small balls.
So they had their So they were their own balls, and now they're in with the small balls. Interestingly, what South Australia said at the time that within the Shandong Cricket Association, they already have, wait for this, 80,000 players. 80,000.
Really?
Eight with 4 zeros after playing cricket in Shandong. Now, this is ABC News reporting 2016. I expect they'd be directionally correct as far as that's concerned. There's not an extra 2 zeros there. But I must say I was surprised. There's 80,000.
That's good news.
8 years ago. With absolutely tremendous news if that's anywhere true.
You could do a Super League in that.
How many active players have we got here in Hong Kong?
3,000 to 4,000, I believe.
Well, there you go. They reckon they've got 80,000 in Shandong. If that's anywhere, halve it. Just say ABC have doubled it.
Yeah.
Just halve it. Quarter it.
Still.
20,000.
Still, yeah. It's up at the realms of where Oman have the number of players now.
You get a Chinese Super League underway for that.
Absolutely. But that wasn't the only thing we saw in the SCMP this week, was it?
No, there was another article about the Sixers and the Blitz. Okay?
I know this warms the cockles of your heart hearing these words.
The Blitz excites me enormously. Sixers not so much. We'll get to that in a minute. But what a proactive step about getting into it. Obviously what is advanced negotiations about getting the Sixers back up and running, as well as the Blitz, which was enormous at the time from a profile point of view, not so much financial, but that's another story.
Well, it was enormous financially.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, just the wrong side of it. Anyway, anyway. But look, what a good article that was, and a little bit disappointed we didn't get a scoop on it. But that's okay.
I thought that was the one you were going with. I'm not. I need to go back a little bit and say I thought you were going to talk about the Blitz and Sixers first. I'm not that upset about not getting the scoop about the Shandong Small Ball Association. Okay, just putting that on the record. Carry on.
All right. The Blitz and the Sixers. What do we know? We know what's in the press, okay? They're short a sponsor, okay?
Yeah.
They need a sponsor. Surely there's a big sponsor out there and get on board with this.
Yep. There's plenty in this town. You see, you got the Cathays, the HSBCs, the Citibanks. They're all out there sponsoring certain things. Jump on board. Maybe get them all together. But, yes, I like the concept from reading that article where there's no plan forward unless there's a sponsor.
Yeah.
Because last time they did the Blitz, bankrupted the association. And can't be doing that again.
I think the tone of the article, and anyone out there, go back and read it. You can find it on Google, no problem. My concern was the tone seemed to be more focused on the Sixers with the Blitz as an afterthought rather than the other way round. And I'm not sure I understand the logic behind that, to be honest with you. Sixers, in my mind, was fantastic back in the day, all right? You're not going to pull... It's a circus, right? You're not going to pull big-name players to come and play Sixers here. Even if you do, what are we going to get out of it unless it's money? Unless it's a pure money play, then I'm okay. But it's not going to do anything for the development of the game as far as the juniors or the seniors' exposure to real cricket, because it's not real cricket, right? I just don't see a global audience giving two hoots about the Sixers when you've got so much franchise cricket going on already.
Yeah, this is valid. I mean, I think they're going to have to build small anyway. We're not going to get the superstars in straight up, so it might be not the has-beens, but those that used to be great to start it off anyway. We were discussing this last week as well when we were not recording a podcast.
Yeah.
That maybe you got to start small. Maybe you get the superstars that have just finished up playing to come and do that sort of thing, and then the game grows. Just don't try to go in there and create the IPL in 30 seconds.
But to me, if that's the case, every minute that you're spending on the Sixers or every dollar you're spending on the Sixers is a waste of bloody money, and you could spend it on the Blitz, where you're actually going to get something from your senior players, exposure globally. You do a good TV deal, get money out of it, give them exposure globally where they might be able to go on and play in other global T20 tournaments. And in addition, your up-and-coming players, Buschy, get an opportunity to get out there on the field playing with some of the best, not just in Hong Kong, but from around the world in a T20 franchise format. If they take the same sort of approach they did to the previous Blitz, it's a wonderful opportunity for that next generation. They might not even play every game, sure, but they get to hang around in the dressing rooms. They'll get 1 or 2 games there. It would just be fantastic. You don't get any of that from the Sixers. None of that at all. Nothing. But you get the senior stuff, you get the junior stuff, and the big positives that go out the back. Out at Mission Road, there were thousands of people out there when the Blitz was on. It was a wonderful event. It was a wonderful event. Grandstands up, atmosphere, TV broadcast in. I would love to see the Blitz back, and if Cricket Hong Kong can pull that off, it would be absolutely wonderful for the game here.
Okay. When? They're talking October, November, but there's so little time. Nothing's been organised.
Yeah, that worries me. Okay, that worries me. You need to find that perfect window. It's not a 2-week event. Okay, it never was and it never will be. You won't get the players for that period of time. You need to find that 4 or 5 days.
But if they're doing Sixers and Blitz...
Well, this is my problem. I don't...
Okay, but we'll just work with what was in the article, and they're talking about Sixers
and Blitz. That's right. That's right.
Not all Blitz.
And they were talking Sixers, which seemed to be Blitz as an afterthought, with Sixers the priority, and that's what I'm worried about.
So where does it go in the calendar? Now, we've just learnt that there's already... The calendar's starting to fill up international-wise. And you know we got the Challenger League 50-over format coming up late November, December, somewhere in Africa, probably. That's
we've got the ICC Men's T20 qualifier in Malaysia coming up, which begins the end of August and goes through that first week of September.
Okay, so that's out.
Yeah.
And then everything else has got to be shuffled around it for domestic stuff.
I don't care about domestic stuff when you're talking about these tournaments. To me, that's irrelevant, okay? Domestic stuff becomes irrelevant. You talk about global calendar windows, okay? So you need to find a weekend, a long weekend. I'm talking Blitz. Put Sixers over there. It's a circus, right? You need to find that long weekend where you can pull some players in. But you're right. Whatever it is not far away. I don't know how it can be pulled off in that time. There'll be a lot of work going behind the scenes. And as I said, Cricket Hong Kong are just doing such a wonderful job across so many things. Netherlands versus Hong Kong and the ladies coming up on June 17.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
In the Netherlands, to pull that off. How good's that?
We just talked about the Malaysia T20 qualifier World Cup's coming up in August. There's so many international tournaments coming up, both men's and women's, because the international calendar just seems to be so full now. I just don't see... We're now into June.
Yeah.
So we're talking June, July, August. We've got 3 months. Find a sponsor, get ground location, get everything sorted, get players. I can't see how it's going to be pulled off, to be honest. If they do, it's a miracle. And if anyone's going to be able to do it, it's Cricket Hong Kong.
Yeah, that's right. And there'll be, obviously a stack of work from the team going on behind the scenes and things we don't know, okay, which is absolutely fine. And as you say, if they pull it off, it's just absolutely, it'll be wonderful.
Well...
But it worries me that the Sixers is such a focus. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Maybe people like the Sixers as well.
People don't like the Sixers. It's a circus. You're not going to get... Yeah, I know you can run the argument that the T20 calendar is flooded and all of that, but you will find revenue out of a TV stream for that and people to follow it out of India and the subcontinent. There is no doubt about that, okay? The Sixers is a circus, okay? It was great in its day. It was. When you can get Warne here and you get Glenn McGrath here and you get famous players here, that was a different time in cricket. That was before T20 franchise. We were one of the first ones with T20 franchise. Yes, it didn't figure out financially. The people now, I'm sure they can make it figure out financially, get that sponsor on board, put the focus there.
Well, if they do get the sponsor on board and manage to put it, Maybe that sponsor can sponsor the podcast next season.
But that is a wonderful idea.
You were complaining about how you're opining for free.
I do opine for free.
Well, season 2.
Well, actually, I don't opine for free. It costs me to give an opinion.
Well,
as you know,
maybe
we make no
season
money.
2.
It costs us money, not
If you
make
want to
money.
sponsor the podcast, season 2, it'll be starting up at the end of August. Feel free to reach out on Instagram DM. Don't email.
Speaking of end of August, that's when the 2026 ICC Men's T20 World Cup Asia Qualifier A schedule.
Yeah, can you tell me
begins.
more about that?
Can indeed. I'm not sure exactly. I think it's top 2 teams go through to the next phase, which will be your UAEs, your Omans, Nepals, those who are playing in the actual World Cup now. And congratulations to them. I watched a bit of that, actually. Only the associate games. I don't watch anything else. I watched Oman, Namibia, which was a great game. Went to super over. 30th of August, we kick off our campaign against Myanmar, Buschy,
Okay.
in Malaysia.
I think I can pencil that one in.
On the 30th of August, on
For a
the
win.
very next day, we've got to back up to play Mongolia.
Okay. Hong Kong tends to break world records against Mongolia, so that should be fun.
Probably banking 2. If the weather's good, we're probably 2 from 2. On the 2nd of September, we play Singapore.
Yeah, they've been on the slide of late,
Well,
so...
since they lost Tim David, they're just sliding down the pole. We'll win that one.
Yep.
The 3rd of September, we have the Maldives.
Don't know much about Maldives cricket, not going to lie.
They shan't be beating us.
Okay.
And then we wrap it up with the home team on the 6th of September, Malaysia.
Well, that'll be a good game.
Yeah, it will be. Top 2 going through. It looks like it's going to be a league format.
You'd expect...
Single round robin group stage.
You'd expect at this point Malaysia and Hong Kong are going
Red hot favourites.
back to play and have a chance to get into the next World
The
Cup.
slippery slope out of the top 2 will be that Singapore game, right, for either Hong Kong or Malaysia. That'd be the one. You'd expect both to win, but if they were to slip
Malaysia
up
at
there,
home as well. So.
yeah, it could throw a spanner in the works. But getting back to the point about scheduling, yeah, that's on, and then the Challenge League kicking off later in the year as well.
Yeah, still waiting for confirmation on whenever that is going to start. ICC in absolute no hurry, because they've got the World Cup on at the moment to tell us anything about that.
That's their focus at the moment. All right, Bushy. I think that basically covers it as far as an introduction
You
is
finished your
concerned
rant?
to the final episode.
You finished your final
It's not-
rant of the season.
I take offence that you call it a rant because it was
Picket fence.
an
You
opinion.
take a picket fence.
Yeah, I don't sit on the fence.
No.
I have an opinion.
You do.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's always right, but it is.
It's always an opinion. Yes, you're right.
No, it's always right.
No, it's always an opinion.
That's the beauty about opinions. You can't be right or wrong. They're exactly that, an opinion. And we love opinions on the podcast. We welcome them all. We welcome them on Insta. We welcome them from our
DM us.
posts.
What's
Yeah.
your thoughts on Hong Kong Sixers and Blitz and the chances of it turning up perhaps in October?
Yeah, and any good opinions come in, we might do a little special release in the off-season. Who knows? And cover some of that, maybe.
You're going to make me work more?
Well, possibly, yeah.
Fair
Well,
enough.
we both work for free, mate. It costs us money, so that's all right. This is the 8 for 52 podcast with Botters and Buschy. Hang around for the rest of the show. We've got a quick outs and ins coming up. Bushy's birthday bonanza with, oh my God, a massive Bushy's birthday bonanza. And then we'll do our favourite parts of the season wrap-up. And, of course, Siegfried Wai.
Yes, my story coming up. Stick around. This is the 8 for 52 podcast. Giddy up.
It's time for Outs and Ends, a full wrap of senior cricket games in Hong Kong from last weekend. Here's Botters.
All right, outs and ins. Here we go. The last one of the season, Bushy. And what a sort of weekend of cricket it was, the triple
it was
header.
huge. A triple header for the Sunday T20 Cup.
Bloody rain.
It's always raining at this time of
Oh,
year.
it's a nightmare. Rain, go away.
Does make for an interesting set of games, though, if you're playing 3 in a row and the ground's a little muddy.
Yeah, exactly. Kicking off
2
with
semi-finals.
first one of 5 over game.
Lovely.
It's the one thing, I do like T20 cricket. I really do, but I don't like when it's reduced because it just becomes an absolute lot. Yeah, I don't like it.
I like it.
I don't like it.
I mean, they both
5 over games
both
is a
of these
joke.
teams. We're talking about the Scorpions from the Hong Kong Cricket Club up against the elite of Pakistan Association. But it's not like it was a DLS thing. They both went into this knowing they had 5 overs apiece.
Yeah, it's a joke though. It's not real cricket when you play at 5 overs.
And Pakistan won the toss.
Yeah.
And they decided to have a bowl on what was probably a bit of a mud.
Yeah, well,
Bit of mud.
it turns out to be the correct decision. You're taking Zakat Khan and Shiv in 2 balls. Tane Rafsal on fire on a hat-trick early. All sorts of trouble.
2 golden ducks.
Yeah, I know. 2 Goldens, 1 LB, 1 caught by Mataza. Anyway, it was all over basically after 5 overs. Hong Kong Cricket Club Scorpions finished 24 for 3.
Big score, not. Did the Pakistan Association Cricket Club struggle? They did not. 27 for 3. Chased it down in 2.1 overs.
Yeah, Zishan gets 17 off 7.
Yeah, Zishan.
2.1 overs, it's all over. Semi-final number 1, Scorpions out. Elite go through to the final in the afternoon. Second semi-final, USAC Vagabonds. Good to see them through, actually, to the semi. I was really cheering them on, actually. And it was good to see them up against LSW, who were relegated as well.
They got that last over DLS win against the KCC Templars to make the semi-final. And in they went. And they batted first.
Yeah, and they did terribly.
And they decided to bat first too. Yeah. After watching that morning game, decided that they'd bat first. And, well...
The top score of 19 was more than double the second top score. Yep. Only one in double figures, Maroof, he got to 19. Top order, 8-7-0-4-6-3. And then below Maroof on 19, 0-1-0. All out 53 off 12 overs.
Very tidy bowling there from Little Saiwan, JKN. Just the 2 extras.
Have a look at that bowling lineup.
That bowling lineup. Oh, my goodness. With Sheria moving across from USRC. And I mean, a bit of a grudge match there for him as well. So you got Sheria. You got DJ Rao, Tanvir, Manirdar, and Isan Khan.
No, it's how are LSW going to play Div 2 Sunday cricket next year?
That's going to be so much fun to just call. I just can't wait.
How did they get relegated?
No offence to the Dragons. That bowling lineup against the Dragons is almost lethal.
Oh, dear. It is indeed. It is, really. If they keep all of them, of course. I don't know if any of them will look to change clubs. A few there won't, but 1 or 2 may. Anyway, we'll see.
I'm sure the master, Isan Khan, will be there. He's a little Saiwan man.
Can't see him going anywhere. Anyway, so they won the semi, which put them through to the afternoon final up against the old arch rivals, the Pakistan Elite.
Yeah.
What happened there, Bushy?
Well, Pakistan Association batting first. Well, they got Little Saiwan as well, all out in the 18th for 106. Little Saiwan winning the toss, putting Pakistan in association in. Again, the master with the bat, just in such good form at the moment. Zishan Ali top scoring with 48. There's nobody helping him out. Yassim out for 12. Manjinder Sunny Singh got a 13. Everything else is, well, the next best score is the extras, in fact. 11 winds and 1 bye from Little Saiwan.
I'll just take you down the bowling figures, Bushy.
Yeah, go on.
Ehsan Khan,
yep.
3.3 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 5. Monadar, 4 overs, no maidens, 3 for 9.
Just
pretty impressive.
That econ rate, with only the 1 maiden between 7.5 overs, is just exceptional. I mean, that is a really good lineup, and I'm looking forward to them. Unfortunately, for the longer format, they'll be playing Div 2.
They will be, and they were chasing 106 when they went out to bat. I'll tell you, it took them a long time to get there.
Well, that's why Little Saiwan are being relegated. They've got the bowling lineup, but the batting is not quite there. Rajab Hussain on his day can score a century, but only got a 7. It ended up being the middle order.
Yeah, relying on Ehsan Khan with both ball and bat again.
He can do everything, can't he? 36 off 36 and wins the game with 3 balls to spin.
Yeah, gets them across the line. Very mature innings, no doubt. A few wickets there for a few of the Tanweer again, getting in with a double. No couple of goldens on a hat-trick. Oh, he got 1 golden actually this time. Yeah, LB as well. Number 3, a Resdar. But LSW across the line.
Well,
in the final over.
In what has been a horrid season for them. Congratulations to Diasqua Little Saiwan taking the big trophy home at the end of the season, and they'll start afresh for 24-25.
Yeah, and they'll have that presented to them at the end of season award night, I suppose. So they're going home with a trophy. A lot of disappointment around it, but they're going to walk away with something, and that's fantastic. And that, Bushy, wraps up outs and ins for season 23, 2024.
It's time for My Story, where the elites of cricket in Hong Kong tell us their story.
All right, as everyone knows, we've said it a couple of times, this is episode 35 and the last one for 23-24 season, and we've had some fantastic guests on My Story this year, and we've got a fantastic final guest coming up, Bushy.
Indeed we do, and now I want to quickly, Botters, before we start the interview.
Please.
There's a message in this My Story for the kids out there.
Nothing better. We love stories for kids.
Look, you might try and fail, but don't give up.
Yeah. Keep trying.
Try again.
Yeah.
Our My Story guest has asked me 17 times to come onto the podcast, and I've said no every single time. But the finale, he's here. It is the one, the only, Siegfried Wai.
Thanks, Buschy. It was just a joke. I wasn't serious. Somehow I've ended up on the podcast, so I'm glad that you invited me on.
Whether it was a game of cricket here at KCC or if it was the internationals and you're playing for the Dragons, all I would ever hear if I got off broadcast, can I come on the podcast? It became a rolling stick.
Like Mum always said to me, Buschy, if you don't ask, you don't get.
I agree.
Ziggy has asked 17 times, and on the 18th time, Buschy said yes.
Yes, and we're glad you're here, mate. And thanks for joining us on My Story.
Ziggy, absolute welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure to have you on. It really is.
Oh, we were going to do a duo, actually, because Siegfried has there's a pair. They're like a comedy act here in Hong Kong cricket. Siegfried Wai and your good friend
Arthur Choi.
Arthur
Chew.
You've done it again, even in the birthdays.
I just do it on purpose now. He loves it.
But Arthur jumped on a plane and left, and has left you solo to do this podcast all by yourself. But we're
not here.
He's offered to dial in. He's asked me to dial in, but I don't know how it'll quite work with this.
Well, I'll give you a
technology,
tip.
so-
I'll give you a tip. He shan't be dialing in, right? Arthur Chu is not dialing in. We're here speaking to Ziggy Wai. Ziggy, absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
As you know, My Story, you're the final one for the year. We've had a lot on during the year. Where we like to kick it off is, where did you fall in love with the game of cricket? How did you first pick up a cricket bat, cricket ball? Where did your journey with cricket begin?
And on that point, just want to point out, you born and bred Hong Kong, Chinese, parents are Hong Kong Chinese.
Yeah.
So the story of how you got into cricket, it must be fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky. I went to international school growing up, so from primary and secondary school. So I went to Bradbury and then Island School. So cricket was always something that it wasn't completely foreign, but it was maybe something you played in PE, etc.
Is that the Jamie Atkinson? Was he Bradbury and Island as well, or a different age group?
I think he was Bradbury, but he went to South Island. So he's a couple of years older than me. But yeah, and then I think in secondary school when I was about 12 or 13, there was indoor cricket that was happening at lunchtimes. So I just joined in because I had a few friends playing, and then Jason, who's one of your previous guests, he played as well, and we were obviously good mates growing up. So he got me involved, and we played during lunchtimes in the sports hall, and we also had a net at Island School, so we had 2 nets, and we used to play kind of during lunch breaks, and that's kind of how I got into it. And then at the same time, I was also lucky enough to be a member of the cricket club as a kid, so started playing tennis at the cricket club, and obviously as a few friends in my tennis class play cricket as well. So
it's very similar to the Jason Loy story.
Yeah, pretty similar, to be honest. Like, I've known Jason since I was about 6 or 7. So yeah, I think we were in the same class from about 6 or 7 all the way through to year 13 in Island School. So known him for a long time, and he was probably one of the key people that got me into cricket. So that was kind of how I got into it. Through kind of playing at school and then at the cricket club as well.
So when you were playing in the nets at school, was it just you and Jason playing in the nets, or were there others?
There were others.
Right.
So I remember Jason used to never get out, and if he was out, he would never walk. He's very greedy. He still is. He still doesn't ever.
He didn't mention that on the My Story interview I did with him.
So that's. But yeah, it was there was a couple of us. So Mark Chapman was in our school as well, but
because
he's
quite handy.
Yeah, but he left quite early. There was a couple other players that have since left Hong Kong. But yeah, there was about 5 or 6 of us, and then kind of through that, I just, we're school team, we were always short. So junior cricket, senior cricket, we were always short. So
you played for the school, competitive cricket?
Probably about year 9, year 10 was when I first started. So about 13, 14.
14, yeah.
And yeah, we were always short. So they couldn't get 11, so it wasn't that hard to get in the team. And so I started, and really, really enjoyed it. played obviously for school, played at the cricket club as a kid.
Yeah, so you played at Gappers as well?
No, so I just started after Gappers. So I actually learned most of my cricket through Lal Jayasinghe, who I think a couple of your guests would have mentioned as well.
Yeah, have.
So I was lucky he was our school coach. So was coached from him from a young age. So
when did you first start playing for HKCC? Was it under 13s or 15s, that sort of age?
Yeah, it would have been about under 15s or so.
Okay.
So all the way through to 17s as well. So
did you have any other sporting interests as a young fella?
Yeah, so I'd say football was probably my main sport until probably about year 9.
Soccer, we're talking about here, are we?
Soccer in Australia, yes. Most Australians.
Carry on.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that word. And then obviously tennis as well, so the big ones. I think cricket was kind of more accidental, to be honest.
You didn't play rugby?
No.
Because you're a big unit.
I wasn't allowed. My parents didn't like me. They didn't want me to get hurt.
Okay.
You're huge. You would have crushed it.
So I wasn't allowed to play.
Oh, dear.
And then in my last year of school, I was keen to play, but someone in my year above me got a really serious injury.
Oh,
so
dear.
that was like a no-no.
Mum and Dad's like, see, that could have been you.
Exactly. So
go play cricket,
yeah,
where you can get hit in the head with a very fast, hard ball.
Yeah, I'm like, my dad knows the rules, I think, but I'm not convinced he knows all the rules.
I was going to ask you about that. Your mum and dad, as far as their knowledge
Yeah.
of cricket is concerned, and
Yeah.
your interest from a young man,
Yeah.
started playing very regularly at 13, 14.
Yeah.
But yeah, are they sort of on top of the game?
Like at home, if I have it on at TV, and my dad, he'll watch, and I'll try to explain it to him, and then he doesn't quite understand like some of the fielding. If someone misfields or like doesn't catch like a really difficult catch, he'll be like, oh, well, like why hasn't he caught that? Or why hasn't he stopped it with one hand?
Oh, we all asked that question.
So he doesn't really quite understand kind of the difficulty of the sport, but he knows the rules. And as a junior, he'd come watch and come take photos. So he was always supportive. I think
Brilliant.
as parents, they're always just keen for you to play any sport and never kind of push me towards anything. So
As long as you were happy and
Yeah,
you're out there and
exactly, with
staying
friends.
fit, fantastic.
exactly, yeah.
So you finished school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you head off to university, or you went to university here?
Yeah, so I went to university in the UK. Went to the University of Southampton. So played a little bit.
A little bit of cricket.
Because obviously most of the cricket was towards the summer. So I was always during exam period, and then during the summer holidays I was back in Hong Kong. So I didn't really play a lot, but I still got involved in the local cricket. The university cricket club. We got to train at the Rose Bowl, which was really nice.
Wow.
Down in Hampshire.
Yeah.
I was able to use the indoor centre. So it was good, but just didn't play a huge amount. And then obviously came back from uni around 21, 22.
Just while you're there, before you come back from uni, what did you study at uni over there?
Economics and management sciences, but I don't remember much from my studies. I'm not much.
Is that just the degree you do to do banking in Hong Kong?
Yeah, something like that. I
Okay.
think, maybe having Asian parents might have something to do with that. But no, they never forced me to pick a degree. But I just picked something that I thought would be interesting. Would help me in my career going forward.
And then so you've finished that, you've come back. Is that when you started with the CHK Dragons?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, actually, to be fair, when we were younger, we did have sort of like a junior Dragons program, so to speak. So Lau had actually organized like an under-15s team where there was about 4 or 5 of us. And then we played with, because we didn't have enough 11, so we had other friends who were local Chinese or Cantonese speaking players join in. So that was kind of like my first involvement as a junior, and that actually really helped me because I wasn't good when I first started. I just wasn't good enough to play for HKCC under 15s. It was pretty competitive, so that actually gave me an opportunity to learn and develop at a young age. And then when I came back, Wilson, who you both know,
Of course.
Chris Pickett, he was leading the Dragons program, and back then around 2014-15. When CHK, Cricket Hong Kong China had a lot of funding, obviously through, I think, ODI status back then. So there was a very comprehensive Dragons program that was put together. We had obviously Wilson as a dedicated coach, and we had resources. We even had access to strength and conditioning training as well. So it was like a full kind of men's program. Wilson found out I came back to Hong Kong, and then they asked me to go down. And I think the first time I played for the Dragons was actually the East Asia Cup.
I was going to say that. There was pre-COVID. There was East Asia Cup, where it was purely a Dragons team that was represented against Japan and Korea, etc. I know you were a part of that. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, that was amazing. we got to go to Japan in 2016, which was amazing. Didn't do so well. We came third, but just to play in these tournaments, play against Korea, Japan,
Just experience, right?
China, it was a great experience. Something looking back we probably took for granted back in 2014 and 2016, but the opportunity to play. And even you look at the Japan team now, obviously they come on leaps and bounds, and a couple of their guys are still playing in the team when we played against them back in 2018 and 2014 as well. So that they've come on leaps and bounds. But yeah, the opportunity was awesome.
Were you the captain of the Dragons for those tours, or were you still mentor underneath somebody else?
Yeah,
that was captain?
so I was. So AD was captain the first East Asia Cup, and then Ming. So Damien for this 2016 and then 2018 was Ming. So I was unfortunately captain for the COVID years.
So you became captain of the Dragons.
Yeah,
in
2021, I think.
Oh yeah. What a time.
Yeah, about 2020, 21, and then until 2023.
And you've moved on now, and
yeah.
After not being able to make the Hong Kong Cricket Club under-15s team, you're back there up the hill playing for them.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was a few reasons why I left. I think the Dragons. I think the key one is really, it took a lot out of me to be captain for the Dragons for the kind of last 2 to 3 years. Being captain for any club side is obviously difficult. Like, it's something that you do in your spare time outside of work. But I think with the Dragons, there's a lot more than you ever expect. Like, now I remember I was filling in claims forms for coaches, to claim the hours for the 1 hour training session with the Dragons. I had to put training plans together. At one stage I was even going on LinkedIn to look for players because we were so short. So it was just a lot of extra stuff that kind of burned me out. And
over that period, you didn't even have a coach, I believe.
I was going to, just extending on that, I was going to say, what level of support was put around the Dragons at that point in time if captains filling out coach claim forms?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's if I go back to 20, obviously when I first came back, we obviously had a lot of funding, so there was a lot of infrastructure in place. I think once we lost the funding in 2018, a lot of support and resources got pulled away from the Dragons program, and that meant that it had to be a lot more player led. We had to run it ourselves, and it did mean working, having to work with whichever coach was allocated to us on a Wednesday, which wasn't ideal because it could be one person 1 week, different person the next week. Yeah. So it wasn't ideal. I think in recent years, I would say as an I think we probably haven't had much focus or support from the powers above us in terms of developing our, giving us the coaching, developing us, and kind of focusing and making it a priority. Back in 2014-15, when Charlie Burke was in charge, and then subsequently Simon Cook and Mark Wright, they made it, kind of their remit to really look at developing Chinese cricket, and supporting the Dragons, and really looking at developing players who can potentially go on and play for the national team. Obviously, I'm speaking from the men's squad perspective. I think from a women's squad perspective, I think that's a different story. And I think there are a lot of success stories on the women's side. But I think I think that we've had a lot of support, kind of 2014 to about 2019. The last few years, we probably, and I understand that. Understand the situation. ODI funding. I understand that. But I think a lot of things that we could do, I don't think it requires money. I think it just requires a little bit of creative thinking, a little bit of I think better allocation of resources. But I don't think it requires. It's not something that requires a huge amount of money.
We were talking at the intro of the show today about all these tie-ups with small ball association or sporting associations on the mainland, in Shandong and Shanghai and the like. Do you see that as a positive aspect for the Dragons set up and the Hong Kong China players, or is that a backward step, in fact, to the point where that focus might be on the mainland players more than the local Hong Kong Chinese players?
Yeah, I mean, it's early days, so we'll see. I think there is a danger of that happening. What you mentioned around the focus taken away from the local talent pool here. But there's benefits, I think there are going to be hopefully opportunities for the Dragons to play against some of these sides, and kind of give against the Dragons the opportunity to play more representative cricket. So that's always a good thing. Whether that's going to help develop players into the national team, I don't know. I don't think the Dragons it won't be the only factor that creates players into the national team. I think the whole domestic cricket structure probably isn't fit for purpose at the moment to produce players into the national team, from a Cantonese speaking background. And I know you guys have had conversations around the structure of domestic cricket, and kind of the Premier League structure, etc. I mean,
on that, what do you think needs to change for local Hong Kong Chinese, Cantonese speaking players to make it to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't have a solution. I don't know. It's probably something above my pay grade, but I can probably give you an idea of why I think, that we're not producing as many players, and then kind of what the situation is. I mean, at the moment, participation levels are probably the highest it's ever been amongst, Cantonese-speaking male players. We have the two sides of Hong Kong Cricket Club. We have obviously the KCC Pioneers. You have the Dragons, and you also have CC Hongxi on a Saturday. So if you compare that to 15, 20 years ago, we've come leaps and bounds. The problem is, I don't want to say it's a problem, but the average age of these squads, are on the higher side. They're going to be guys who probably don't have ambitions to play, at a high level. So then what does that mean? That means we need to invest more in the junior, kind of that 12 to 17 to 18-year-old, bracket, and provide them opportunities to kind of come through and to have the ambition to achieve high honours. I think if you look at the domestic Premier League structure, for example, the clubs are dominated by the members clubs, right? So they're obviously going to be predominantly expat clubs or predominantly South Asian clubs. So they're going to obviously produce more players. If I'm let's say, for example, I'm one of the LSW, for example, right? I've got 4 or 5 national players in my team. I've got a young player coming through. He's obviously likely going to be, South Asian descent, because it's a community club that, that's the way it's structured. So, they're going to give him maybe 2-3 seasons in the Premier League, and he doesn't need to perform because you've got your senior national players that are going to perform, bail you out in the Sunday League and the Premier League. So it gives exposure to these kids at 14 to 16 to 18 at Premier League level. So by the time they get to 18, 19, they become ready to play at the Premier League level.
So does the Dragons need to become its own social club? I mean, it seems to be, as you say, it's Pakistan Association, a little Saiwan, you got USRC, and then the 2 private clubs with grounds. Yeah. Is that holding back? Like the likes of Jacob Lim, who's very talented, but only getting a game for the Dragons.
Yeah. He plays USRC.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's others like I guess Otis Lee will play up at the Hill as well. But as a club,
but you mentioned those names. Like if I was a selector or talent development person at Cricket Hong Kong China, I'd be identifying the 10 to 15 that I think have potential from that age group, and I'd be investing time into them. If you've mentioned a couple of names, talk about even at KCC you've got the likes of Ollie, Ty, etc., Fergus, Paco, those kids. Like I'd be investing time into them, whether it's over the summer holidays, giving them special training programs, whatever that is, you're just giving, because the only way the sport's going to grow in Hong Kong is if we can involve the wider community.
If I could just, on that, I think Cricket Hong Kong China are doing a wonderful job in that all-star space at the junior levels. And all the names that you mentioned and others with Cantonese backgrounds are all included within that. Yeah. It's a matter of that next step.
Yeah.
It's that in-between step after that, which, Buschy, you just touched on about whether there's a element for a Dragons junior type middle area there or not. I don't know, but there might be that gap missing because of the And this is not criticism anyway.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
it's what we're
Yeah,
dealing
it's what
with.
the structure is. Yeah. It's not
in the
criticism.
private clubs versus the community clubs.
Exactly.
And there might be things falling through the cracks.
Yeah.
And like you said, you haven't got the perfect answer. I don't think any of us have.
Yeah.
But there is that foundation of youth coming through behind you guys as well, which is encouraging, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I know we've got the Dragons on the 15s program that's being run at the moment. I'm not too familiar with kind of how much training they have, etc. But that's a start, right? That's great that Cricket Hong Kong China have done that. I think it's more of that, really investing into that and just giving them opportunities to play in the under 15s leagues or in All-Star series, whatever kind of age group tours, under 16s, under 19s, and kind of giving these kids opportunities.
Well, you now got Najib coaching.
Yep.
Full time, is it, for the Dragons, or most of the time?
I think so.
That's a massive coup for
it's
a coach.
huge.
I've heard from the grapevine that he's going to be more involved in the women's setup.
I've kind of heard that as
full-time,
well.
So I think there's going to be a change into that. I think Andrew Lloyd's going to be more involved going forward, which is great.
That will be great.
Yeah.
As his son, Otis,
exactly.
coming through the system.
Um,
Now, we're getting close to the end of this. I just wanted to give you enough time to run through all the rants that Arthur Chew has given you via text that you promised me you were bringing in, and he's going to be listening in from the UK going, he better say what I told him to say. Have you got anything?
No, I can't. I mean...
So, Arthur, so what Ziggy's telling us by his non-response is whatever those texts are not fit for purpose and fit for air.
Not fit for purpose, yeah. I mean, I'll definitely have to message you after and say you got to cancel.
We'll get them afterwards and we'll work them into we'll work them in next year.
My bleep button would be getting a very heavy workout as we redact the second half of the interview.
Ziggy, yourself, just going forward.
Yeah.
We've covered where you've been and where you are right now, but about going forward, I mean, from what I understand, you're not playing for the Cricket Hong Kong Dragons anymore. Of course, you played this season with HKCC. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if there are Dragons games above and beyond that, like if there was East Asia Cup or those types of things, you're eligible for them?
Yeah, of course.
You played?
Yeah, I played in the friendly against China.
Yeah.
So look, I've obviously gone back to the cricket club, and I wanted a change of environment, and I wanted to experience something different as well. I haven't been involved in the Dragons for so long, and at times when you're playing the Dragons, you're almost developing players as well. Like you're always, and I just felt at this stage, I've turned 30. I feel like I still have a few years where I can really try to play as high level as I can, and then when I'm older, I can always go back and help develop some of the junior players. So
good on you.
I'll eventually go back to the Dragons. It's something that's very close to my heart. And I'm very passionate about developing, players, local Cantonese players, because I think it's the only way we're going to grow the sport here in Hong Kong is if we get involvement from that community. So I mean, I've played for the cricket club.
So if I read that right, Ziggy still believes that you've got some upside as a player. Right, you want to concentrate on yourself for a little bit of time, which is a fantastic thing, right? Yeah, you've got to put yourself at the centre before you can share out. Yeah. And I think that's a really, really good process. If you can get up at age.
Sorry, I'm just a bit flustered. My idol, Sonny Bimsaria, has just turned up. So
he's taking photos of us.
Flustered,
Your idol, Sonny Bimsaria.
He's just turned up.
I tell you what, you need to look for a new idol. Big laugh came from Bimsaria there.
Yeah, Sonny was happy with that one. Yeah, just to finish up, you passed off the captaincy to our former My Story guest, Jason Loy. You guys still in touch? Are you still chatting?
Nah, I hate him. No, look, he's... of course, we speak about... Honestly, it's quite sad, but we speak about the Dragons pretty much like every day or every week.
Beautiful.
But no, look, he's done a great...
Is it always about what Arthur's done?
Yeah, something like that. Why can't Arthur pitch the ball on the pitch? Bowl the ball on the pitch. Well, why does he bowl so many extras? How the hell has he got 18 wickets in Division 2?
It's the headband.
No, look, he's obviously done a fantastic job as captain. I think I've tried to build some of the foundations the last couple of years, and I mean, eventually it was always going to be him that was going to take over the captaincy. So he's done a really good job, and I think it's really helped his cricket. I think it's no coincidence that the first year he's become captain, he's got 200s and he's playing for the Hong Kong team. And I think that's because he's realised he's got to be the one that takes the responsibility and show what Dragons players are capable of that. They can play for the national team. So it's great to see that now he's representing a national squad. How far it takes it's up to him, to be honest. I don't think he'd like me to say this, but I'm the first person to kind of always be like, you've got this great opportunity, in front of you right now. You really have to take it because it's literally in both your hands. You scored a 50 against the national team.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's got a great opportunity. I hope he takes it. But yeah, he's done a great job for the Dragons, and he'll keep taking it forward. And then when Arthur eventually comes back, we'll give him the captaincy.
Ziggy, look, it's been an absolute pleasure. You're a wonderful role model for all potential cricketers from a full Cantonese background. Your parents' decision not to let you play rugby is cricket's gain.
Well, how many guests have we had that have busted their knees playing rugby?
That's right.
There's been two my stories.
Mark Casilla jumps to mind straight away.
Yeah, and
he's only playing cricket because he busted himself in rugby. And
didn't Jay Davidson also?
That's right.
Did an
that's
injury.
right.
So your parents are wise.
Ziggy, absolute role model. Been an absolute pleasure. Your insight tonight into the local game has been very, very insightful. Yeah. And there's so much upside in cricket for local boys and girls as far as Cricket Hong Kong China is concerned. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, mate.
Thanks. You talk about role model. I'll tell you a story. So I think when Jaden was about 16 or 15, and he'll probably remember. He'll probably tell you about this, or he's probably told you about this. But I think we were playing for the Witherers, and then we were only defending like 120 and 130. So Jaden came out to open the bat with Mo Khan, and obviously I didn't score any runs, but we were battling for Division 1 survival. So I had to try everything I could to do something for the team. So I got stuck in the Jade, and I remember saying stuff like, "Oh, you're only selected for KCC because your dad commentates," and stuff like that. And he took it pretty well. He batted pretty well. He got 30 odd, and he did nibble. But ever since then, Jaden gave it back to me. So, this guy only sledges little kids. Blah, blah, blah. So no, it's good. You talk about role model. I don't know. I think if I tell you the story, you
got to take on the young fellas and see what they've got.
Toughen them up.
That's
right.
Sure.
He's ready for.
He's gone from sledging young children to begging to be on podcasts.
That's right.
Oh, what a my story it's been.
That's one of the beautiful things about cricket is the friendly banter on the field and then all mates off the field. So Ziggy, absolute pleasure to have you on. Might even have you on if you ask 17 times next year. You might get another one.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. It's an honor. And I'll I always listen to the podcast every single week. I'm the only one sad enough to listen to it.
Oh, easy, Tiger.
There's plenty of them.
There's another 17 bands. There's 17. No, see, thanks so much for joining us.
No worries. Thank you.
And now it's time for Bushy's birthday bonanza. Oh, Bushy's birthday bonanza, and to me it's a sad one. It's the last one of the year, 35 episodes in, and it's been the highlight of the year, the highlight of my year, the highlight of everyone's year, and we're going to go out with a bang.
Oh, we are going to go out with a bang. We'll actually get through all 135 birthdays in our
list. We're going to cover 135 birthdays now.
Not now.
Thank
because
we've
I just did the sum
already. Imagine if we were going.
We've already done 115, I believe. So
Christ, well, 20.
Yeah, 21 to go. Here we go.
Kick us off.
Back on May 31st from the Cricket Hong Kong China women's team, heading over to the Netherlands. Ikra Sahar turned 22.
Oh, happy birthday, Ikra. Good luck in the Netherlands. Really looking forward to that.
And another one from the Cricket Hong Kong China women's setup. Hailey Du will be turned 27 on June 2nd. Happy birthday to Hailey. Now we're going to go through the birthdays to come. On the 11th of June, Muhammad Umar from USRC. On the 12th, we just talked about him earlier in playing for Pakistan Association, Tanvir Afzal.
Happy birthday, Tanvir. How's our Tanvir now?
He's going to turn 36
Fantastic.
on June 12th.
His cricket's as good as it's ever been.
Now we'll stick with the PACC players and also, of course, a superstar for Cricket Hong Kong China turning 35 on June 16th. It is Zishan Ali.
Zishan, arguably not a better batter in form at the moment for the last month or so.
Yep, happy birthday to Zishan coming up on June 18th from HKCC, one of the players you love pronouncing the name of, Vian Van Zyl.
Ah, Van Zyl. I think he stopped playing cricket, actually. He's the guy who was in the Sunday League team, Saturday and Sundays, and his work commitments are too much.
Yeah,
which is tragic because he's sensational with the bat.
Hopefully we'll see him back. He's turning 28 on June 18th.
Happy birthday.
On June 20th from KCC, a man that we haven't seen too much of this season due to injury, I believe, Simandeep Singh.
Caught up with him recently. I think we'll see a bit more of Simo Singh next year.
Fantastic.
Excited, fittest man in Hong Kong.
Yeah,
He's back.
Well, he'll be turning 29 on June 20th.
Brilliant.
Here's a birthday you'll enjoy. Turning 30 on June 27th, it is one Mark Chapman.
Chappers. He's turning 30. How the time's got away. One of only 5 or 6 internationals, T20, to ever play for 2 countries. Of course, he played for Hong Kong, China, and then he's playing for New Zealand, Australia.
Yep, well, happy birthday to Mark. He's having a birthday June 27th. Let's get into the July birthdays. On July 4th, turning 23 from KCC, Malhar Vora.
Happy birthday, Malhar. Great supporter of the podcast, great supporter of cricket in Hong Kong.
He was a good supporter of the podcast until you kept not picking the Saracens
are rubbish.
He stopped listening,
Absolutely
remember?
Rubbish. No, he still listens. He just shuts up now.
Okay, now on the 8th of July, turning 32, the captain of Hong Kong China men's team, Nazakat Khan.
Off-season birthday for the skipper.
Yep.
But he'll be working hard, getting ready for that big tournament in August.
And our first ever podcast guest,
He was
way back
indeed.
in episode 1.
Yep, he'll be on again in season 2, I have no doubt.
Now, we talked earlier about some players heading to the Netherlands with the Cricket Hong Kong China women's team. The coach is going to have a birthday as well in July, on July 14th. Andy Cottam, turning 51.
Happy birthday, Andy.
Here's one you'll enjoy from Kowloon Cricket Club, turning 38 on July 16th. It is the Director of Cricket.
Ashley Caddy.
Yes, indeedy.
Big Ash, birthday time.
Yep, that's coming up on the...
Looking forward to the invitation to the party.
Yeah, I think he's going to the UK, so you might actually get one
I'll
because
be
you're over there as well.
Exactly.
Another birthday, this time from the CHK Dragons on July 18th. Damien Yee turning, let's see, I'm going to say 46.
Happy birthday, Damo.
Now, another one over in the Netherlands, Mariam Bibi from the women's team. She is turning 21.
She could have a field day over there with the ball in the Netherlands. Really looking forward to that. Happy birthday, Miriam.
Another birthday that you're really going to enjoy. He's left Hong Kong, but he listens to the podcast. Coming up on July 22nd, turning 30. Your favourite name to pronounce incorrectly, it is Arthur Chu.
Arthur Choi, happy birthday. Chu. Happy birthday, Arthur Chu.
Okay, now...
Hope you're doing well out there, my friend.
Having a birthday on July 22nd... 26th, sorry. There was Arthur on the 22nd. On the 26th, turning 19, is the Kowloon Cricket Club's Young Player of the Year, 2023-24.
Dash Vora.
Correct.
So the Voras, both birthdays in the off-season.
Yep. There we go. That's the 26th. July 29, I see a birthday in here. Someone also turning 19, used to playing for the KCC Crusaders. One Jaden Botfield.
One of the Botters offspring. Happy birthday! Thanks for reminding me. I'll need to buy that little bloke something. He's off in the UK playing cricket with Bexley at this point in time, Bushy.
Well,
and enjoying himself enormously and looking forward to his birthday as well.
I'm sure you will. Coming up, July 31st, turning 27 from Hong Kong Cricket Club. One of the coaches up there, really great guy, on the verges of getting into the Hong Kong China team as well. Luke Jones having a birthday.
Well, if it's not Wakas Barker, that man Luke Jones is the greatest fielder in Hong Kong. And if he was selected, there'd be no objections from me for the national team. Happy birthday, Luke.
On August 6th, turning 33, another favourite of yours from time gone by. Probably not in the setup anymore, but celebrating a birthday will be Scott McKechnie.
McKechnie. Fantastic, absolutely. Did wonderful service for the game in here in Hong Kong for many, many years. Happy birthday, Scott.
Now, 2 more to go, and then we're done for the season. August 11th, turning 40, the big 4-0. a very big friend of broadcast and the podcast, especially his young offspring, who are also been in the birthday list before. Addie Lee having a birthday on August 11th, turning 40.
Bushy, if you haven't watched the most cricket in Hong Kong, Addie Lee has. He's always on the fringes of the ground with the boys. Happy birthday, Addie. Big 4-0. Enjoy your family time.
And finally, rounding it out, we'll be back with the new ones starting at the end of August. But our final birthday for the season 1 of the 8 for 52 podcast, having a birthday on August 19th, turning 33, the former Cricket Hong Kong China operations manager is now left to go to greener pastures. It is one Nitesh Hemlani.
Nitesh Hemlani, happy birthday. That is wonderful. Yeah, he's going to be off. He'll come back. He'll have a very good job soon, I reckon.
We'll find out where he's gone very shortly.
Yeah.
Okay,
we haven't seen the back of Nitesh.
I'm going through this quickly. Happy birthday to Ikra, Haley, Mohammed, Tanvir, Zishan, Vian, Simandeep, Mark, Mulhard, Nazakat, Andy, Ash, Damien, Mariam, Arthur, Dash, Jaden, Luke, Scott, Addy, and Nitesh.
Bushy, you haven't missed a trick all season. You haven't missed a trick tonight. Bushy's birthday bonanza. It's going to be back next year.
This is Billy from the HKCC Under 11 Strikers, and you're listening to the 8 for 52 podcast with Botters and Buschy. Bye!
Well, Botters, that brings us to the end of episode 35 and the end of season 1 of the 8 for 52 podcast.
What a season it's been, Bushy. It really has been absolutely wonderful. And I really do hope we've added to cricket in Hong Kong.
It's been mental. It's just been out just all over the place. So much going on, so much cricket. It's all been a learning curve to both of us, and we've both been doing podcasts and broadcasting at KCC, broadcasting for Cricket Hong Kong China. We've been doing internationals, Premier League. It's just been so much cricket, and it's been fantastic.
What about that episode, The Past, the Present and the Future, in early days, eh?
Well, I did mention at the beginning that I didn't like that name, and I quickly made sure that got changed.
It was rubbish.
Well, I'm glad you agree, because at the time you were very sold on it. PPF. I remember it was
PPF,
called,
yeah, but it migrated into My Story, which is absolutely fantastic.
And we've had so many great My Stories this season, and I just want to touch on that quickly, because not only have we had the best and brightest in Hong Kong, both domestic and international players for Cricket Hong Kong China. We've had the captain, Nazaka Khan, both captains for the women's team, Natasha Miles now and Kerry Chan before, but we've got the big international captains as well on the podcast. Kendall Katawaki Fleming from Japan. Who else have we had? Who else have we got?
Nepalese captain.
Yeah, he was good.
Rohit Pardal. Who's now at the World Cup.
Yeah, he's having fun at the World Cup. Yeah.
No, it's been unbelievable. We've had so many great guests on. We had Elliot Andrews on. We had Todd Lingam on.
Okay, that's just a little bit of a cliff down from, Rohit and the captains of international cricket. But yes.
Maybe, but yet
the sons of Jin Sung.
Big Jay Davidson recently. Unbelievable guests we've had on in the season. It's been wonderful. It really has. I've really enjoyed it, and I think the listeners have as well.
And I want to just take a moment to thank every single one of those guests that have come on the podcast, because they've taken time out of their busy schedule, whether they're cricket coaching or working or playing. They've all sat down and had a chat to us and done it with a grin on their face, and we thank every single one of them. There must be at least 20, 25 we've done.
Absolutely.
So thank you to all of them and all of you who have been on the show this year.
Very much so. We've had a lot of winners and losers this year, Bushy, as well, haven't we?
We have.
Team-wise.
We have. We've been covering lots of cricket, lots of ins and outs and ins. I can't remember which one's which.
Don't worry about that. Premier League one-day champions, Hong Kong Cricket Club. They're knocking off KCC.
Well, KCC were undefeated throughout that tournament, and then just went out to Ting Kwong Road due to ground availability and fell in a big muddy hole.
They did, but they got it back in the T20, taking it out over the top of USRC. KCC, the champions of the PL T20 in the two-day games. A couple of two-day games, as always. KCC over the top of HKCC in the Fincher.
That was huge. We called that one live all day, 2 days. Well, it only went day and a half because Wakas Buckhart and Dan Pascoe just drove HKCC into submission.
There was a little bit of controversy around that as well, if I do recall, about when the game finished and who wanted to play cricket and who didn't.
I think they were all ready for a beer by the time Wakas had got his century.
In the other two-day game, Pakistan Association got over the top of LSW. And then in the Sunday Elite Division 1, the Templars. It was a washout. But they beat the Scorpions. They were the top team all year, the Templars.
Yeah, it was a payback after the last year's fiasco, so they were quite happy with that win.
In Div 2, the Wanderers, deserve it. They've been promoted. They got over the top of Infidels. They flogged them. They were the best team all year, the Wanderers.
Well, the Infidels are just going to sit in Div 2 forever after all those COVID wins, and they're just going to be sitting there lurking in the top 2, annoying everybody as much as possible.
So HKCC wins Sunday Div 2, and they also win Saturday Div 1 via the Nomads getting over the top of the Tartars in the Saturday Div 1 final. Congratulations to the Nomads.
Now, it was a big win.
Back-to-back. And relegated out of that, the PACC Rising Stars, or as you christened them during the season, the Falling Stars.
Yeah, but during the Cup, which we're not going to cover, they started to rise again. So I have faith.
Going down with them is the Punjab Lions, unfortunately for them. Coming up are the 2 grand finalists in Saturday Div 2, the USRC Tigers. They got over the top of the SCC Lancers in the grand final. Champions of Div 2 USRC Tigers. Both teams promoted. We wish them all the best in Div 1 next year.
Yeah, fantastic. We're going to have a huge 2024-25 season coming up. We're going to start Season 2 of the 8 for 52 podcast sometime after the Cricket Hong Kong China Awards, which I believe are August 17th. So maybe the last week of August we'll be back.
Yeah, it depends. If that first game is that first weekend of September, the first Sunday and Saturday games, we'll get the first podcast up just before that. Maybe even the week before that. Who knows?
Well, I think we probably have to have it up in front of before this thing happens here.
30th of August down in Malaysia, the T20 World Cup qualifiers on the men's side, qualifier A, so we probably will need one before that.
Does that mean that we need for episode 1 season 2 to go find the episode 1 season 1 My Story guest again? We have to go talk to the captain of Hong Kong China, Nazakat Khan, find out all about the tour going to Malaysia?
We may do. That's all in the future. In the meantime, what are you doing in the off season, Bushy? We've got a couple of months off, mate. What are you going to do? What are your plans?
I am spending a fair bit of the 2 months off that I get, 2.5 months, getting ready for the next season, actually.
Preparing.
I'm preparing the KCC broadcast for 2024-25. That, at the moment, is looking amazing. And we're also getting ready for the Cricket Hong Kong broadcasting coming up for the season as well. I am going to take 10 days where I'm going to fly out of Hong Kong all by myself, and nobody will hear from me.
And where are you going to go? Well, you're heading out to Sky Plaza Road.
I'm heading to Sky Plaza Road.
And after that,
and 10 days later, I'll be back.
Yeah, and in the interim, where's that 10 days being spent?
No, I'm just going to sit on a beach somewhere between here and, well, I'm not telling you.
Somewhere else. All right, fair enough.
I'm going off the grid.
Well, enjoy your trip to Sky Plaza Road.
You're off to the UK, I believe.
I am indeed, yes. I'm heading off in a couple of weeks. I'm heading out to Sky Plaza Road myself, and I'm going to spend a good 6 weeks in the UK.
A wet 6
and
weeks.
Europe as well. No, it'll be beautiful when Botters is there. It'll be bright, sunny skies till 9:30 at night. I might even sneak in a cheeky pint on the side of a cricket ground watching it before I head off to Croatia and Greece for a little bit.
Well, blimey.
Yeah, and then head back to the UK and maybe watch a little bit more cricket there. And won't be doing anything related to the podcast, I don't think, at that point in time.
No, the only thing you'll be doing related to the podcast is wishing your son a happy birthday, as we did in Bushy's birthday bonanza.
That's right. Actually, I've got a funny story on that, because I'm due to fly back 2 days after his birthday. So he rings me up and he says to me, Botters, would you mind bringing your flight forward? Well, what are you talking about? I'm flying out 2 days after your birthday. He said, I'm going to Spain with my mates. So, Dad, would you mind leaving a little bit earlier? Because Lucas Del Bianco, Max Cotter, Charlie Walsh, Ryan Gilkinson, Jaden Botfield, all ex-KCC players, are all going to have a week in Spain, and Botters got kicked out of the country early.
You should know by now what it's like having teenagers. Nobody wants Dad around for a 19th.
Correct. Evidently, that's the case. It's not like the 3rd and the 4th and all those ones.
Oh, they love them. They don't remember those parties we threw for them.
Changed now.
It's just
anyway,
like out.
So I'm going to spend less time in the UK than I had originally planned, Bushy.
Well, you can spend some quality time working on Season 2 of the 8 for 52 podcast.
I'm looking forward to it already. And we will be back with Season 2. It's only a couple of months away.
It's not far.
It's going to be a massive season in front of us.
Yeah, well, we're going to try to turn up to the Cricket Hong Kong China Awards, aren't we? Maybe do those interviews like we did at the start of this season.
Maybe. We'll take our kit and then just figure out what sort of state we're in after entrees or towards mains.
Well, it worked last season.
Yeah.
We got lots of great interviews to kick off the
we did.
season.
I remember doing Zishan and Yazim outside. We got our stings from them, and we did everyone else. Yeah, and we'll probably have a little bit more confidence this time. Shove the mics in front of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll know who we are.
That's right,
Instead of
exactly.
run away.
Correct.
Who are these people with headsets on?
That's right. Anyway, looking forward to that. That's the awards night coming up. Doing that, we'll have that in the very first episode, I would say. Sometime late August. Stay in contact. We'll tell you exactly on Insta as we move forward. This is the 8 for 52 podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing season 1 to you. See you, Bushy.
See ya.
The 8 for 52 theme song is The Coin Toss from the band The Duckworth-Lewis Method. Find them on Apple iTunes and YouTube and download that song and all their other cricket-related music.
The 8 for 52 podcast is written, produced and published by Matt Botfield and Aaron Bush for Trip Ahead Limited. Copyright 2024.